Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I had a look back at the things I've posted, and it's been a month since we had a full update on the Cymbidiums. So as it's watering day, I thought we'd do another one. Now this is just I'm not filming watering or anything like that. As each plant comes over to be watered, I should deal with my scale the best I can, although I've just seen a leaf I've missed, which I will get in a minute. And we'll just do an update on the plants themselves, and this is more about looking at growth progress really. This is Jamie Red, and it puts a good marker in as much as that's as good a bulb as I think it's capable of growing. So in theory that's what we're aiming at with all the new growths. Now we've got one new growth in the middle there. You can tell the new growths because they're spotty where the scale have been on them, and they have actually left marks. Got another one here, and coming round we do have a leafless bulb. Another new growth here, another one here, and another one here, and another one next to it there. So we have a good number of new growths. But as I've said, you know, when you've got a bulb like this, that's your benchmark really. It's another good one here. So what I'm aiming for is for all of these new growths to produce bulbs like this. And then I'm sure we'll get a really good blooming. And now I've turned the plant round, I've lost that leaf that I missed. No, I got it. I got it. Right, so that's Jamie Red. Pleased with the progress on this. Good number of new growths. It's didn't get repotted, it got potted on. So the new roots will move out towards the edge of the pot as they're produced. And with Cymbidiums, unless you've got soggy media that allows the roots to rot and there's a lack of air, then they will just grow. They're just very prolific. So doing okay. Right, the next one is Tiger Tail. This one has many new growths. This put on a spectacular show earlier this year. Many spikes, they lasted for ages. I'm hoping for a similar performance next year. New growths are at this sort of stage. One here, one here. There'll be some in the middle of there's one here in the middle of the plant. Coming round here. We've got two right next to each other there, and coming on round we've got another one here, and we've got another one here. It's a leaf I've missed. There's another one in the middle of the plant here, and another one that's pushed on almost so that it's disguised because it's taller than the others, and then another one here. So I think we've got a lot of new growths. We can safely say that it should put on a decent performance. It's had its pot sorted out, so don't need disturbing now for a while unless it fills the pot. For those of you worried about the scale, because it is a bit fiddly trying to treat a leaf top and bottom with a little tiny alcohol spray, I've ordered some systemics, and the one I've found strangely enough is a common brand that a lot of people would be using without realizing what they've got. It's got a new type of active ingredient in it which moves away from the nicotine type stuff that a lot of countries have banned. It's dangerous to bees, it's not good stuff. It's something that if I was using it I wouldn't go outside with it in case it drifted onto plants. However, this new one is far less volatile and apparently just as effective. We will find out. So I ordered that first thing this morning, bleary-eyed first thing this morning. That should be here tomorrow. We'll see how we go with when we actually get to treat these, because irrespective of whether it's harmful, the spray is not best breathe. Getting up your nose or anything like that. So I would still want to take the plants outside and treat them individually. And that's not going to be that easy, because to treat them without loads of bending and lifting and stuff like that, I would like them up at this height so that I can spray them at this height, which means I can get in under the leaves as well as on top of the plant. So I'll be thinking about that. But that's how I'd like to deal with them. So this one's doing fine, no problems with this one at all. Now this one is Pumilow. This one was bought in bloom, so the blooms were not produced by me. Lovely cascading spikes, which, if they are supported about a third of the way up as they progress, then they will only partially cascade and won't be lower than the base of the pot. So that's what I'll be doing when I get some more. I did say when, not if. Right, this one's had its, well, I'll stop saying it because all of the Cymbidiums have either been repotted or potted on, or the decision made that they don't need it because they got done last year and they still got room in the pot. So we can cut that out. I will say, you've probably already noticed, but I am going to do pop-ups of the names and the blooms so that you can see the blooms that go with each plant. It's when I don't do that, it's just laziness basically. If I've got the bloom pictures and I'm talking about a plant, I ought to put a picture of the bloom up, didn't I? What do you mean, yes, you lazy toad? Well, sometimes I'm just a bit busy and can't be bothered with that level. Anyway, new growth on this one, starting here. This one's pushing on, this one's pushed on a lot further, so started earlier. Another pair here pushing on nicely, another one here, and another one here that's pushing on further than the others, and then another one here that's also pushing on further than the others. And then we get back to our original pair. So a good number of new growths. If we get a nice pendular spike on those new growths, one each, then we will have a good show again. It's not a large plant. It's bordering on a miniature, but the leaves do grow quite tall, so it's not really a miniature, but it's not a giant, that's for sure. And virtually no scale on this one. So mind you, when the systemic arrives, it'll still get a spray because it's protective. So it'll get in there, and then obviously with the Cymbidiums I've got touching plants. There's only so much room where they live and they touch, so the scale can spread from one to the other. I'm reasonably separated from the rest of the collection, and as they seem to be happy on the Cymbidiums, they're not trying to migrate. They're not looking for a picnic, you know, coach ride and a picnic elsewhere. Not yet anyway, and hopefully when the systemic arrives they'll be gone for good. But they came in from outside, you know, one of the plants came in from outside with the soft brown scale. So anyway, that one's doing okay. Nice set of new growth pushing on nicely. This is one of the more giant types. No ID on this one, it was the bronzy coloured one. I think I might do a new label if I can remember when I get in. And you know, I can have Cymbidium hybrid, but if I put bronze in brackets, then we'll know which one it is each time, because there are several with hybrids. The game of using the little sprayer I've given up on. It's tedious, and as I've got systemics coming, why am I bothering? It's only a couple of days. Now last time we did an update on this one, we had a very strange looking new growth. Well, that's sort of strange. That is not a healthy spike. It's yellowing. It's not happy. I suspect the heat's got at it. That's all I can think of. Now it might still bloom, but it might not. These buds may well abort. This is not its blooming time. But as far as new growths are concerned, there's one behind that spike there. We've got a pair here coming up together. Do you know what? That's a spike as well. You can tell they're hollow. Yeah, so there's the top of the spike there, and then the whole of the rest of this is hollow. So we've got another spike coming here. That one's a new growth, I think. And that one probably is as well. But there's not, if you know, as some of these are turning into spikes, there may not be as many new growths on this one as I would like. But what we've got is what we've got. What it's going to do is, you know, I have not really much control over, so we will let it do its thing. And I'll put that in a position where we can see those buds, because they were completely hidden in the jungle back here. But I suspect that spike's going to abort. Whether that other one will do the same, I don't know. But these are cool growers. These are not meant to be in 30 degrees. So, you know, we shall see. But that spike may well abort. Now this was Ice Flow, one of the ones I got from Mathers at Wisley this year in bloom. Very small division, got a back bulb, 2 reasonable sized bulbs, and now we have a new growth, just a single new growth. Plenty of room now in this pot for this to stay in this pot undisturbed for a while. So just coming on, there's not much more you can say. It's just going to be a single new growth. Hopefully when it matures it'll bloom when it's time, but well, that's, you know, wait and see. But it's doing as well as can be expected for a small division. Strictly speaking, according to Jim Durrant, it shouldn't have bloomed. He said you should have three suitable back bulbs to allow one to bloom without draining the strength. This isn't classed as a suitable back bulb because it's leafless. Nonetheless, it's got a new growth and it's doing okay. Right, this one is Showgirl. This didn't bloom this time round. I think it wasn't happy in its pot. When it was repotted, it didn't have very good roots. As you can see at the top of the plant, there is a lot of root activity now. Yeah, so it's growing hopefully a much better root system. Only one new growth, and hopefully it will put up a growth that's capable of blooming, and with some roots it should have the strength to bloom. It would not be very nice to miss yet another year, and having a Cymbidium miss 2 years together is not very good. But at the moment it's looking like it should produce a good bulb, so we'll see how it goes. Now this one is Cali Night. This was the one that arrived not in bloom when it was expected to be so, but nonetheless it grew some fabulous spikes and had a really good blooming, so yeah, it sort of made up for it. Anyway, the colour of the blooms, almost black, is sort of reflected in parts of the plant, because parts of the plant are very dark indeed. Now I'm going to have to watch this one, because round here we've got this. Now I don't know why that happened, that's before my time, but these 2 new growths, the leaves were stuck together. So this was stuck inside there like that, pinched. So I've just gently unstuck it, and the one down here as well, the one in the middle, to make sure they can escape clean. And I shall have to keep my eye on all the others and make sure that they've got that freedom to grow on. See, this one here, that's not free, that's stuck. Can you see? It's stuck. And that probably means the one inside is as well. So it's obviously a trait of this plant. I don't think I'm doing anything different to this one to any of the others. There's an awful lot of what looks like scale damage down there on that leaf, but there's no scale. So they may have been got last time. But yeah, I shall have to keep my eye on these new growths and new leaves to make sure they escape. But as far as new growths are concerned, we've got this little one here, and then we've got this one and this one, and then we've got this one and this one. So for the size of the plant, we've got a good few new growths, and in theory each one of those new growths should produce a bulb big enough to bloom. So again, we should have quite a nice blooming on this one. So it's doing okay. It's got some history, but there's not much I can do about that. I could cut those leaves off, but they are probably still photosynthesizing. They've still got areas of clean green, so I would be reducing the plant strength if I did that. So maybe after all these new growths have matured and have got full-size leaves, those historical ones could disappear. Anyway, that's that one. This is the last of the giants, and this one's got a lot of scale. I'd be here half an hour fiddling with that little sprayer trying to rub them off. So we'll wait for the systemic. As I say, I've got tired doing that. It's become tedious. Now this one missed a slot. So this was a non-bloomer at the time it should have done. Well, at the anticipated time. All you can go by is if you buy one in bloom, logically that's the time it should bloom next time round. And if it doesn't, and 6 months later it still hasn't, then it's missed its slot, if you see what I mean. So it's a big plant. It was quite big when I got it. New growths here, here. I think there are quite a few. Here. That's right, that one looked a bit round. One in here, one here. Coming round, another one here, another one here. There's another one in the middle there that I think hasn't been counted yet. And then we get round to the jungly bit. There's one that's pushed on well in front of the others here, and another one there. Yeah, so we've got a good number of new growths. Hopefully they will mature okay. Now this one didn't get repotted. I decided that because it missed a chance, it might be better left undisturbed. And most of the new growths have got room to develop, like here. That's got room for a bulb. That's got plenty of room. All the ones in the middle of the plant will be fine. There's this one here is going to be a bit squashed. That one will fill that gap okay. I've got a feeling there's another one in there. There's two together there. And obviously anything in this area has got plenty of space. And then next time round, it will have to go in a bigger pot. This is getting to the point now where you have to stop and think, should this be divided? Should this come down to like dividing it in 3? It would easily divide into 4, but then you're starting again with relatively small divisions. And like I've said before with Cymbidiums, you got a job to give them away. Nobody wants them. Very few people can cope with the size. You know, if you think like, you know, if you grow Oncidium types, where that plant lives, you could get 4 Oncidium types, or maybe even 6. So they occupy a lot of space. You've got to be prepared to put up with that. Anyway, missed a blooming slot and has plenty of new growths, undisturbed roots, so hopefully it should progress and do well, and a lot of scale. We'll sort those out. This is another one of the ones that came from Mather's at Wisley, and this was a 3 bulb division. You can see the progress nicely here. Small bulb, getting better, nice big fat bulb, spike. That's a division behaving as expected, and what we've got is a nice strong new growth. This had pretty good roots, and it's coming on nicely. Again, no reason why it shouldn't bloom at its proper time. Doing okay. Now this is Cymbidium copper. It is still relatively a young plant. When I bought it, it looked like quite a large plant, but on repotting it turned out to be 2. So okay, I only paid for 1 and got 2, and they are different as well. But this one's got a very advanced new growth here. It might not have much else, quite honestly. Oh yes, it has another well advanced new growth around this side of the plant. So we do have 2 new growths to progress, and hopefully we would get a spike on each one. The older bulbs are a bit shriveled in places. Well, this one is. This one round here is a nice big plump one, as is this one. But it's not as strong a plant as I would have hoped. But hopefully the two new growths will do roots, get full-size leaves, because already the leaves are taller than the rest of the plant, and obviously it's still developing. Not all the leaves have even opened yet. So I think the latest two growths are going to make the plant a lot bigger, therefore stronger. Whether we get two spikes next time round, who knows? We only got one last time, so maybe we'll get two next time. It's probably one of my favourites, this one. Right, there we go, that's that one. And this is the other one of the three that I got from Mather's at Wisley. Much larger plant this time. It's been potted up in such a way that it should have room to expand. The original plant was 3 bulbs. We now have a new growth here, and we have 2 round here. So effectively this plant is going to double in size in 1 year. Now obviously it was a relatively small division, being only 3 bulbs, but that should, in theory, give us several spikes. I won't say 3, but the older bulbs are quite plump, and they've all got leaves. You've obviously got the smallest one here, and then gradually getting larger, as is the way. And 3 new growths, which should provide a lot more roots, a lot more strength into the plant, and who knows, we might get 3 spikes. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this is growing on well. To produce 3 new growths, I'm well pleased. And last but not least in here, Hannah's is outside under the table on the decking. I'm not filming that one. Last but not least in here is this one, which is potentially virused, so it's kept separate, always watered last. You know, I do take care to try and not spread viruses. I mean, I've known people lose a whole collection by not taking care, you know, squashing all the plants up together, not sterilising tools, all that sort of stuff. But it's this particular bulb that is very suspect. There are other parts of the plant that are fine. In fact, a large part of the plant is fine, including these leaves here, which are new. This growth here is a new growth, and the leaves on it are fine. But there are a couple of parts of the old plant that are not fine, so I'll keep it separate. Anyway, as far as growing this one, it has this new growth which is pushed on well. And then it has these 2. I think that's it on here. Yeah. So I keep my eye on it. I keep it. I haven't dumped it. But as I said, I am wary of the fact that it could be virus. It could. I mean, this is cell damage, but that could have been light. Yeah, it could have been light burn. Especially as if you think about it, it's all on one side of the plant. That could have been the side that was facing the sun last year, and this one's a bit more sensitive to sun. So there are other possibilities, but I'm sticking with the fact that it could be a virus, and we'll work with that. So that's the last one for today. As I say, that's a major update looking at growth basically and potential, and we'll have another update. Chances are, he keeps saying this, I keep saying it, the chances are the next update will be when they go outside, but I still haven't sorted the staging out, and while we've had all this heat, I'm not doing that sort of manual labour, you know, sawing up bits of wood, and I'm just not doing that sort of stuff, doing screws up, you know, getting arm ache and shoulder ache and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, when we get some cooler weather, I will set about doing the staging, and then we can get the plants outside. They're not suffering from lack of light, not in here. This is a very bright grow room. They've got plenty of light. they will get better light outside, and more importantly they will get a bit of sunshine on them now and again. But the most important reason for them going outside is the autumn towards winter, when they have to suffer those cold nights, and that's the point at which the spikes are induced. So that's important. That they would not get in here. So I can virtually guarantee if they stayed in here, we wouldn't get such good bloomings. We might get a few more actually miss a run, so to speak. So anyway, that's the Cymbidiums in the main, doing okay. Getting rid of the scale should help them along the way. But some of them have got some real spotty damage on them as a consequence of that scale. So it didn't look like the scale was marking them at first, so I wasn't so fussed about getting rid of them quickly. But I want them gone, so we'll get the systemic on there, soaked right into all the plant, and we'll see if that does the trick. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.